Greetings, everyone. James Holmes Jr., Black Lion, and I got part two with Bishop Steven Arnold of Little Rock.
All
Bishop
right.
Arnold, we were talking about mentorship, and we were talking about developing young people, especially young men and so forth. You want to continue on that, Bishop?
Yeah, I just still believe that if you're going to establish a strong family, a strong community, a strong church, you've got to have the man. I believe that God has designed, and I believe that it is God's desire that the man be the head. Is no disrespect by no stretch of the imagination, because where would any of us be if it wasn't for the female, the woman, the mother, our sisters? But I still believe that God has ordained for that man to be out front, to be the protector, the provider, and the priest, which means that that man needs to have a job, that man needs to be strong, that man needs to have a relationship with God, because most women are looking for, and I've got 3 daughters, and so most women are looking for a strong man to be that provider, that protector, as well as that priest, that person who has a relationship with God, because most don't mind following a strong male that's providing good leadership.
And so much of that has been the attack on black males. We all know that. We
Yes.
spend enough time talking about that. And a good way to attack it is, through the economics.
Yes.
Withhold jobs from them, things like that. And that's why we put so much effort into actually setting people up with jobs, as well as teaching them how to start their own business, and also financial literacy, as well as even learning to invest and grow their money. So that is actually a part of Black Lions ministry.
Okay.
And it is a ministry, somewhat of a finance and economic ministry, but that's what we're ministering toward, because we want to build up these young people financially, economically, because almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you can't really think about or focus on anything else till you have your basic needs met.
Right.
Would you agree with that, Bishop?
Yes, totally. And it's a blessing that you're dealing with those types of issues, because I can speak for myself, that I was probably 38, close to 40, before I really got exposed to how to manage money. Already had a family, already had children, and that put me behind the 8 ball, because I wish I would have been exposed to those things at a much earlier age.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal, because school doesn't show us that. School doesn't teach us that.
Right.
And that's why we focus a lot on that at Black Lion, so that we don't continue to just ignore that, because if we ignore it, there's a penalty to be paid. Like John O'Brien said, it's like we live in a capitalistic society without knowing and understanding the rules. So we're changing that up.
yeah, that's important. And let me borrow something from one of your great alphas, Dr. King. Dr. King said, the person who gets behind in a race must run faster to catch up. And so I feel like, as an African American community, that's an area financially, educationally, and economically that we've been behind. So we can't afford not to be exposed and given the information that we need about how to properly manage money, invest money, and to be better equipped to function in this society.
Absolutely. Bishop Arnold and I had a brief conversation off camera about just some of the things going on with his new church home and all that. Are you?
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, as a Christian, so many of us have been just in anguish, just thinking about just the brutality and the history, systematically led in so many ways by the Christian church. And even now, it seems like the white Christian church is not backing off at all. And it's been very, very stressful for a lot of us in the Christian community. And I know you probably feel the same way, right? And I know
Yeah.
my young pastor feels the weight of that, particularly leading a church that has no barriers. Our church, if you guys didn't know, Brook Community Church is all races, black, white, and so forth. So our young pastor, leading a church like that in Minneapolis, the epicenter of just so much, I guess, so much negativity right now in society. And something that Bishop Arnold shared with me earlier is that what they're involved in now is actually sharing some spaces and actually unifying in various ways with a white church. And you could have knocked me over with a feather.
Yeah.
You could have knocked me over with a feather. And I was, is that the ray of light that I'm blessed with today? Do you want to speak on that, Bishop?
Yeah, and I mean, this is no accident. I believe you needed this. Certainly, me and my congregation needed to experience what we're experiencing now. As a result of this COVID, we were not able to meet on a regular basis, and the financial needs became very overwhelming. And I'm the type of leader, I am not the type of leader that's going to call my members and say, I need you to give an extra 1,000 or extra this and all that kind of stuff. And God opened up a door. He touched the pastor's heart and invited us to come over at pennies to come over and occupy. And they've made adjustments for our congregation to meet at one time. They moved their time back to a later time. It has just been awesome and amazing. The enemy always wants to show the negative, but I believe in the midst of it all, there are some real believers that are not seeing skin, but are seeing the spirit of love, of unity, of goodwill. And it has indeed been a blessing. We have been here for a whole month. We'll start our first worship experience this coming Sunday, March the 7th at 9 a.m. And so in the midst of it all, I believe that God still has some people that genuinely love him as well as others, regardless of their race.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys, I said on a previous episode how even being from Minneapolis, and I spent about 10 years in Little Rock, and this was my pastor in Little Rock that whole time, and had a lot to do with my development. And even though we're the same age, obviously he was a much more mature Christian, and I humbled myself to that and learned so much in those things that I am still, cultivating, planting seeds, growing them, and trying to share them the best that we can. But we come from a long ways at St. Mark.
Yes, yeah. Way back then, we started out with probably a little bit over 300 members, and by the time I left there, it was over 7,000. So God was faithful and allowed the ministry to be very fruitful. Yeah. Appreciate all the help you all gave the young preacher.
And out of his original discipleship program, who would have known this many years later? Part of that is some of the work that Black Lion is doing as far as our mentorship group. And mentorship really, another word for that is discipleship.
Yeah.
We're pouring into them
Right.
so that they may grow and so that, they can fly on their own and spread the things that we need, the tools that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Financial literacy, investing, gainful employment, or even if they're an entrepreneur,
Right.
developing all of that and so forth.
I think that is so powerful, man. You'll never know how much this has meant to me in this season of my life, because I am making a major transition right now, looking at the next decade between 2020 and 2030. My desire is to do more fathering and mentoring, to start raising up the next generation. This is my desire, because, and your presence here this month, today, is a confirmation to what God has really anointed my life to do, and that is to mentor others. I want to raise up other pastors and plant them in churches. That's my desire, because I really feel and believe that that's what God has really gifted me to do. Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely has. I
Yeah.
know you're a humble man, and I know you don't pop off very much, but he absolutely has. And one of the things that I had mentioned to him before we actually went on air here is I said, Bishop, even I know you know that your words are powerful, but even more than what you know, your words are really powerful. And I was like, take a little bit of time and bless our young people with some of your words. So I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, and on behalf of everyone out there listening, thank you for your time, because I know you're super busy, and we really appreciate it. Do you want to close with anything?
Hey, take advantage. A lot of times we can't go higher or further or accomplish more things, sometimes because of the lack of opportunity, the lack of exposure. I believe that we should always maximize opportunities, as well as the opportunity to be exposed to new things, education, insight, wisdom on how to better yourself. Years ago, these things were not always available to the African American community. And being that they are, take advantage of it. When I look back over my life, a lot of things I did not get exposed to until later on in my life. And sometimes I look back, I probably could have been a lot further down the road if those things were made available. So take advantage of the insight, the encouragement, the information that is being sown through this mentoring program.
Once again, Bishop Arnold, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're humbled. Cannot express our gratitude enough. And you guys, as normal, pray for me. I'll pray for you. I'm sure the bishop will too. And until the next time, we're out. Peace.